Hello, welcome back to She Season 2. We paused for a couple of weeks and we miss you guys. It's Valentina and Joelle. Hi, Joelle, how are you?
Hello, Valentina. I'm ready for a spicy season
Yeah,
two.
I know, can't wait. So, today we're starting with one of the biggest questions in relationships. Can sex actually make you fall in love? Or are you falling in love because of what sex does to your nervous system? Because so many women leave an incredible night convinced they found their person, the one, the soulmate, while someone else can have the exact same experience and feel almost nothing, zero. So, what creates the bond? Today, we're separating chemistry from attachment, attraction from regulation, and love from biology. And before we dive in, we also want to announce a big surprise for season 2. We're gonna have guests, guys, women and men, to share both perspectives, both point of view on health, wellness, longevity, and so on. So, in 2 weeks, we're gonna have our first guest. We'll introduce him or her soon. We don't know. You don't want to miss it. But for now, let's begin. You ready, Joelle?
I'm ready.
Ah, I
I
love
am
this.
so ready.
Yeah. So, why sex feels so powerful? It's much more than just a physical act because during intimacy, our bodies release oxytocin, dopamine, endorphins, like all these juicy chemicals, and these chemicals literally change how we perceive someone. So your body is not just experiencing pleasure, which is amazing, we love it, but it's actually creating memories of safety, familiarity, and emotional significance. So, do you want to add anything on this note? Because this is what's happening with the body, guys. Joelle, what do you think?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And also vasopressin, which is actually the bonding hormone for male. See, we bond by oxytocin. We create a bond even with women with oxytocin. Spending time with women, friendships, we secrete that oxytocin hormone. That's why even women's friendships are so important in bonding. But the act of intimacy, of sexual, physical intimacy, is also such an energetic exchange. And I don't think people realize how much you are connecting to that person. So not are you just releasing the oxytocin, and for women, I know in my own experience, you release that love hormone, so you're feeling connected. And I know also sometimes a lot of women who maybe have that anxious attachment want to create that connection, right, through sex and through intimacy. um, the problem with that is our counterpart, male, they don't bond by that. So a masculine may be able to be intimate with you and like nothing happened. There's not that love hormone that released. So if we, in my opinion, have intimacy, physical intimacy too soon, it doesn't give the masculine the time to bond because they actually bond differently. Biology bond differently through vasopressin, which for them, I have found, and even it is scientifically proven, that once a man, say, has intimacy or sex with you, their testosterone drops. So you'll find sometimes a man might pull back because they're going, that's just what men do. They're going to pull back, and it takes them some time to then realize they may want to move forward again. The problem that happens in the intimacy and the sexual connection and the anxious and the avoidant, where this all kind of comes together from season one, is we want to see them again. We want to be connecting again, and men sometimes pull back. So it is definitely different the way masculine and feminine bond and also experience love. I do know, believe it or not, men fall in love quicker. They just may not verbalize it, but they don't fall in love from sex. So sometimes we think, oh, we had the greatest chemistry, right? Sex was amazing. We're connecting, we're feeling something. And that's what we're feeling. We're romanticizing this situationship, relationship, or whatever it is. And we're almost like putting in some chapters of what's going on when the other partner may not be feeling the same way. And that's where I find people get hurt a lot easier from that attachment too soon.
Ye-
What do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah, I agree. And that we said, like, it's not just these hormones, it's the nervous system. So, someone with an anxious attachment style often experiences sex as emotional confirmation, like, okay, we slept together, so he must care, but it's different. The body interprets intimacy as security, a woman body, like, most, we're not generalizing here, but most of the time. And but security and commitment are not the same thing. So yeah, totally.
No.
And why avoidant people can disconnect after sex, and you briefly touched this, because so many women think, oh, okay, something's happening here because he changed overnight, but often he actually didn't. His nervous system simply regulates differently. And so,
Correct.
someone who's avoidant may feel closeness during intimacy and then distance afterward, because vulnerability activates discomfort. So it's not a matter of, think of, like, if the people are genuine and authentic. It's not manipulation, it's protection. So it every time, and I love this, like, I heard it from you, it's not two people dating each other, it's two nervous systems dating each other. That's what it is. And
Correct.
even during, like, yeah, intimacy, that's what happens. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the thing is and an avoidant is not always a male. It can also be a
Oh no,
female.
yeah,
But it
absolutely.
but
Yeah.
but right, but typically I do find a lot more avoidants are masculine.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. We talked about that in season one with the mother-father wound of how, things come out. Avoidants usually are because that consistency of the emotional safety was not there or unavailable, which made them feel like I need to do everything on my own. So the connection and the intimacy between then having the sexual relations, and then you might feel that closeness, but then their natural reaction is their nervous system pulling back, because that feel good hormone might come up, but it also may feel overwhelming. And if it is a male, it's natural for them. They naturally pull back because that's just the testosterone in them. Obviously, the hunt and the chase and all that, their testosterone's like, way up there. And then when they conquest, they're hunters, men are hunters, and you have to remember that when they catch, say, the bunny, it may drop, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
may drop. It's that so that's where the intimacy and the commitment take time, and there's different levels of intimacy, and I can't express this enough, and I say this all the time to my clients. Just because you had great sex and chemistry, that's on a physical level. You're not connecting on a soulful level or a spiritual level or a mental level. So sometimes these things create karmic relationships.
Hmm.
um if a male actually really does want to connect and commit, sometimes he will pull away, and it differs depending on the person, but men very much bond by feeling respected, right? Feeling that they're taking care of you, and reclusing back to where they are because men focus differently. They focus work, sex, food, sleep. We
Hmm.
might be in all boxes at once.
Well,
They are
they
not. They are very
compartment.
compartmentalized.
That's the word that I cannot say in English, guys. So
Compartmentalized. They
compat
actually,
that
right,
one.
they do.
Yes,
Yes, we got it.
exactly.
We got it.
We got it.
But so this is the thing, what I say is sex is so beautiful, right? Exchange between two people. It also can be very damaging. It can be
Hmm.
very, very damaging. So it's something that I have learned later in life of having casual relationships. And I found, to be honest, they were the most painful when they end it because a lot of them end it before they even start it. Before you can connect on a committed level, and I'm not saying that this is the end all be all, because I know people who slept together the first night and they're married 20 years.
Yeah.
So it does make, it's not every situation, but I do find more and more, because so many people are not really emotionally aware or emotionally mature, that there's a lot more hookup culture going on. And if people could learn about who they are, the connection could wind up being, a better commitment. And that's, like we said, the nervous system and chemistry takes over, and we think, oh, this is amazing. And, we have human desires and needs and all the things that play the part in that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we definitely bond differently. And as far as casual sex, at this point in my life, have realized that it's not for me anymore. I've definitely experienced a share of that myself. But I do realize how differently we bond now. And if I'm looking for something that I want committed, I want to put a little more intention to it than maybe jumping right into it. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so now I want to say, let me just like say something on chemistry and compatibility. Today I can talk
It's
compatibility,
okay. Come
but
back.
I wanna go back to casual sex and the question, can it become love? Because you never know. Now, the distinction is very powerful between chemistry and the passion and the butterflies and the actual safety, compatibility, and security. They're two different things, but we don't
Yes.
see it. The nervous system drives the boat, and so chemistry can come from unpredictability, inconsistency, longing, emotional highs and lows. Who's been on that roller coaster, guys? I mean, we all been there. Compatibility instead comes from emotional safety, consistency, share values, emotional availability, repair after conflict. So chemistry makes your heart race. Yeah, totally. But compatibility lets your nervous system finally exhale. And on that note, I would also add that sometimes it feels so unfamiliar, so weird that it's a paradox, but it can feel flat or boring because you don't. Where are the butterflies? Where like my heart is not boom 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 like the yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Also, I can name two relationships that in the bedroom, passion. I think it was pure hate though. It's like pure hate for the person, actually. You know what I mean? So much chemistry in the bedroom, but outside of the bedroom, on eggshells. Not a lot to talk about, not a lot of stuff that we really had that was compatible. So in that instances, I have also found that in my own personal experience, I've had sexual relationships that lasted way longer than should have because of that chemistry. But what I
Yeah,
realize
I
now
agree.
from all the studying and from what I teach is that that was my nervous system craving
Yes.
that familiarity of my childhood, of the dysfunction, what you're used to. So that the more, and honestly, one of the men, oh, actually it was almost like reminded me of my dad, total child wound. So it was like that familiar, which made the chemistry feel all that much more passionate, which was all that more toxic.
I
It doesn't mean
totally
that you can't,
agree on that.
it was
Yeah.
all that more toxic, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. I do think that from wisdom now, later in life, you have to definitely stimulate me on a soul level before physically, because I know that if you can stimulate my soul, the sex is going to be great anyway. The chemistry is going to be great anyway, because it's from such a deep, heart centered place. Where sometimes I think the chemistry from the nervous system is more from an egotistical place.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, just from my own experience, that is really truly how I feel. I think that it really the slow burn, even the slow burn, sometimes the buildup makes it great.
Of
But so
course.
many
Yeah.
people just want that quick hit, that
Yeah.
quick
That's
hit.
but that it's not.
They don't want to do the buildup.
That's society right now. I want it all and I want it now. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like hot and heavy and burns out quick. It's like a sparkler. Boom, and it's out.
Mm-mm.
But if you burn a candle, right, and you let it burn and burn and burn, and you let that whole thing build, I really truly believe that the chemistry can build, the sexual experience when it's deep rooted, I think is so much better, especially, at least in my opinion, for a woman, because I really feel like men maybe have sex from the waist down, but women have it from the waist up, right? So if we're not right, exactly. And if we're not heart centered, how can we receive? I knew without your body tensing up. And that's why a lot of women have a problem having an orgasm, because they're in the act, but your body is not feeling safe because your body knows.
Well, a lot of trauma comes from the sacral chakra, and so definitely
Mm-hmm.
there's a block there, and everything that comes with, like the creativity, the flow, the sensuality, sexuality. So, absolutely.
Right.
Sex can become love. I mean, yes,
I
why
believe,
not?
yes. Yeah.
But what you just said, it's true. So if two people are emotionally available, so we create that secure attachment, of course, sex deepens the love, but it doesn't create the emotional maturity, it doesn't create the consistency, it doesn't create the commitment. It amplifies just what's there. It's just a magnifier. So if someone is emotionally unavailable, sex usually deepens the attachment more than the relationship itself.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And I do believe that, because if you take two people that are sexually um even compatible, but they're not emotionally mature, the attachment is even more because they're looking for connection. The thing is, when you can learn to be secure yourself, if you could take two secure individuals, and it doesn't mean through the relationship that you're not going to get triggered with your nervous system, but you're whole on your own. So you're not seeking constantly that validation through sex, like, or to feel. And I've done that, right? I've done that. I mean, I consider myself a really good lover. And, I felt like, well, you know what? I'm a good lover. I'm a good kisser. I'm having this crazy. And, I realized later it wasn't even the connection between us. It was what was in me. It was that sensuality in me that's creating the experience. And it didn't even have anything to do with them. Nothing to even do with them.
So let's talk about activation, because
Oh,
that's what it is.
activation.
It's not the other. First of all, I love what you said, because this is what
Mm.
someone experiences when when you work on yourself and you truly peel the layers, healing never ends, but then you also need to stop obsessing. And I use the word obsessing because probably I've been there in healing and start living, right? So you recognize the pure love and consciousness and the wholeness in you. So you're part of the whole, the source, divinity. And so you're whole no matter who you have besides you around you. So that person next to you, your significant other, will definitely complement you, elevate you, but you're whole regardless. You're not a half of whatever. So when it comes to two people that, get to know each other, and then you just feel that like incredible, like you just love yourself, the way you
That's
think
the
and
key.
feel and act and whatever. Oh my God, I feel so happy. It makes me happy. It makes me, no. He's just activating something inside of you. He's just awakening what's already in you. So,
Yeah.
the question that a woman should ask herself, okay, instead of asking, why am I so attached? Let's ask, okay, do I feel safe or just activated? Did
Right.
I actually get to know this person? Did my body, and that in that case, activation is different than awakening, because like where you like he's awakening something in me is one thing, but the activation in its, how can I, is different, right? Like, because that's the trigger of the nervous system. Did my body bomb before my mind had enough information? Because that's
Right.
or data is key. It's just like like it, when we get to know each other, we have to have information. It's not just, oh yes, because we have that chemistry, so that's the one. No, not at all. That's the nervous system talking. We just need to
And
calm
your body
down.
knows, right? Your
Exactly.
body knows.
Yes.
I can say this, regardless of however people, it is a sexual energy exchange. It's a sacred energy exchange. That's sex. So
Yeah.
this is how I've learned to really understand when I look back at my, say, situationships, whatever they were. They're always a learning experience,
Always.
always to help evolve your
Always.
soul. But I also look back and said, because we are energetic beings, and this is a major energetic exchange, we are receiving, we are becoming one at that moment. Afterwards, I had to say to myself, looking back now, did this energize me or did it deplete me? And your body knows. Your body knows. And if you feel depleted right then and there, you know that this is a connection based on that nervous system. Because if you did not feel depleted and you felt fulfilled from that, there's something more there that's fulfilling you, something more committed that your body's picking up, whether it's been time spent together, getting to know each other, versus doing that casual or quick situationship. I don't think that anyone, if they start to become really embodied and emotionally mature and start to understand their nervous system, you're going to know right after being with that person, am I feeling energized or am I feeling depleted? And
Drained.
I drained. And I also feel that that's after where, if you're depleted, that's where you're romanticizing then. And you're adding all this stuff into the situationship about what it is. You're having a whole scenario in your head
A
about
whole
making this
movie, like
relationship
a
up, right?
trial.
You
Yeah,
made a whole, like a whole
the move.
Netflix series
Yes, because the
about what it is
mind
and what it's not.
the mind fills the blanks. So when you don't have enough
Right.
information, the mind comes, the ego
Exactly.
mind, and there we go. Let me just like now, let me put the head and let me. No, totally.